Welcome to Truthstream. We're here with our good friend Mark Attwood. How you doing today, Mark?
I see we're all wearing vests.
Yes. We're very invested in today's presentation.
Yes. We met you. You left a mark on us, and now we have a vested interest.
We're fully vested in the Mark Attwood program, actually. So,
oh, ridiculous. Yeah. So, how and what you asked him a great question.
Just what's going on in sunny Ireland?
Yes.
I don't know. I've just been so busy making videos that I haven't got a clue. No, that's not true, actually. In fact, if you can allow me to share screen.
I already did, because I knew you might want to do that.
Yeah, so I'll show you this.
Can you see some beach footage? Or
no, it's
I can make these jokes because we have the same climate.
There's great surfing in Ireland.
Yeah, sure.
There is.
There actually is.
People don't realize, there's a national surf center just been built 30 miles from where I live.
Wow.
And it is amazing. People come from all over the world to surf there.
Shoot the curl, Mark. That's awesome.
It is. All right. I mean, I did a bit of surfing in Morocco, but I think I'm possibly too old for it now.
That sounds so exotic. Surfing in Morocco.
Yeah, it could be an album.
You just leave the camel on the beach and
yeah.
I've been wanting to do Morocco for a while.
Well, Morocco is amazing for surfing. Yeah. My favorite place in the world is a place called Sidi Kalki, which is this little village that's been basically unspoilt for years. It's like going back to the 1930s. It's just like a few restaurants and a surf shack and blah, blah, blah. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
I just want to play this for you.
Do we need audio or no?
It's got audio.
For some reason, we're not hearing the audio.
Oh, you're not hearing it?
No. Not yet.
Should be.
It might be a setting.
You still can't hear the audio?
No, not yet.
That's annoying.
What might we be looking at here?
It's the Irish Taoiseach, which is like Prime Minister. And he's a horrible Weasley WEF satanic puppet.
Oh wow.
Leo Varadkar, and he got accosted. He got accosted by a woman called Noreen yesterday, or the day before, and she was just shouting, what a disgrace he is, and she was saying, look, there's 11,000 homeless people in Ireland, and you're letting 80,000 immigrants in unchecked. What are you doing? And the towns all over Ireland they're just having these, they're taking over hotels. They're taking over. It was always part of the New World Order plan to flood everywhere with immigrants. But what's concerning, she was also bringing up the fact, I think she said, and if Noreen, if you watch this and I get it wrong, then don't have a go. But she said something like 15 women had already either died or been raped at the hands of these immigrants. And I keep hearing stories about gang rapes. I heard about gang rapes in a pub in Dublin yesterday. It's really becoming the thing that's actually getting people riled up enough in Ireland, more than the COVID was initially, because I did go to a number of demos, marches and rallies in Dublin and Sligo over the last couple of years, and the Irish are waking up. That's basically to answer your question. And
good.
It's interesting. It's like the balloon, it's like, I really do think we are watching a movie worldwide, and that they have I know a lot of people disagree with me on this, but I strongly believe that God's in control, number one, but by as an extension of that, I think the White Hats are in control of everything, and every single thing we're seeing is designed to wake people up, and it's working.
Yeah, we've heard that the along the border, we were on a call last night, a group chat with Michael Della Rocca and a bunch of wonderful folks in that room, and one of the gals was talking about how along the border there's a plethora of those balloons. I don't know how.
The Canadian border.
Yeah, the Canadian border.
They're always there. I guess they use them for surveillance. Kind of makes me think, because the flat earthers say that satellites are just balloons. A lot of this balloon stuff coming up lately.
Well, maybe satellites were just invented to cover up all the bloody UFOs. I mean, every time I look out, I see one.
Yeah. Yeah. Feel free to share some of that footage today too, because I was really impressed with that down in Anaheim. You showed me some of the footage on the
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't even take the phone out anymore. I never talk about it that much because it's such a regular occurrence.
Wow.
I have had a really amazing experience in the last week though. That
Well, let's hear about that.
yeah, you might be interested in this. So I've told this on a few shows, but it's I'm just going to tell you guys because it was amazing. So I was over in England about a week ago, giving a talk in a town called Buxton, which is a real Tartarian town in the middle of the Peak District, which is a national park, kind of North Midlands of the UK, of England. And the day after the talk, I went to meet a woman who's an energy healer called Gillian, because she rang me up to tell me about this incredible energy at this spot that nobody knew about, and she wanted me to go and check it out. So I did, and it was a portal, and it was right next door to the house of the guy that plotted to kill Queen Elizabeth I, and which is all very interesting because it's all there's no coincidence, everything's connected, right? And it was interesting that we were talking about royalty at that location, because then she said, right, and I filmed the whole thing, and it's just been edited now. The film's been put together now. And she said, there's a stone circle I want to take you to. So we drove down to this stone circle. And this is a stone circle called Arbor Low, which I'd never heard of. And it was very low key, tiny little car park, only one other car there. And we walked up there and we filmed and were talking. And when I got into the stone circle, she told me that it was on the intersection of 9 ley lines.
Wow.
That's a lot of ley lines.
Yeah.
Right in the center of the stone. I'm getting the bumps as I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And so I got into the stone circle, and I started getting messages. One was Stonehenge is completely fake and it's a distraction. And it's all the attention's on the fake ones, and then the real one, nobody really pays any attention to, right?
Right.
And then I got a message saying there's a blockage just over there. So I ran off over this hump in the ground, and I found this looked like a concrete block, like about this high, square, and on it was engraved the letters VR, Victoria Regina, Queen Victoria, 120 years ago, 150 years ago, right? And immediately knew this was doing something to the energy of the ley line coming into this circle. It was either blocking it or diverting it or something, but it was not good, right? So me and Gillian cleared it, and I said, well, there must be 8 others, because if there's 9 ley lines, there'll be one on each ley line, right? And we went round, and there were. So we cleared all of them because they're all doing something. And then we found a 10th one, which had GR on it, which is George Rex, which is Queen Elizabeth II's father, right? That was really demonic. So we cleared that as well. As we cleared it, it was a really overcast, cold, grey day. But literally, as we cleared it, the sun appeared out of nowhere, and I looked straight into the sun, and it wasn't the sun. It had this light going around it like this, and inside it was all kind of plasma. Wow. And then all this light was coming out, like purple and blue light, and I immediately knew it was 6D. And I was like, and it almost looked animated.
Wow.
It's a hard thing to explain. But often when you see these things, you can't capture them on camera, and other people don't see them. But Gillian saw it. And then there were the 2 other women walking a dog nearby. They kind of tried to leave a few times, but saw what we were doing and kept coming back. And they were like, wait, what can you see? What can you see? And they came in and they went, oh my God. And I was like, can you all see this? And so there's 4 of us stood there. And even better, Kieran, I think you met Kieran in the States, who's really skeptical about these things. Just before that happened, he said quietly to himself, God, if you're real, show me a sign, show me something, show me a sign. Because he's seen me talk about this crazy stuff for a couple of years, and he still doesn't quite and he saw it. And we were there for about 25 minutes.
Wow.
Just going, wow, this is unbelievable. And you could feel we were getting codes, information, something, upgrades. It was just stunning, right? And that's to add to my big ship in the garden, to add to my flying dragon made of light that I saw last year. The veil is definitely, we are shifting dimensions, no question. And the veil is disappearing. So this is nothing to do with like the sideshow, the clown show, the balloons and the politics and everything else. This is like, for me, this is my reality.
The real stuff.
And then on Saturday, it was my mum's birthday, and I was getting nagged to make a video. And the video, you need to make a video telling vaccinated people that, we're there for them. It's not, We know they've all been conned, and it wasn't their fault. And yeah, you made a mistake, but we're here for you. So I did. I made that video, put it up on Twitter, and it had like 400,000 views over the weekend. It was nuts. And I was like, I don't even remember what I said, because it took me till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night to have the time to actually make it. So I made it on the boat on the way over back to Ireland. So it's been a interesting few days.
Yeah, pulling Excalibur out of the stone. That's pretty exciting. We might have to go back to Ireland.
Stones are highly underestimated. You know, we just take them for granted, but they have a conscience. They have power. Why do you think there are stone circles all over the world? And I interviewed a guy the other week who wrote a book called Atlantis Island, who's pretty much proven to me that this is Atlantis, and that the civilization that was in Ireland, because I always knew Ireland was important for this time, because the way I ended up here is just so bizarre. But I didn't fully understand. I'm not an expert, right? There's some people out there that really know their stuff, like Michael Tazarian, this guy that I interviewed last week. There's another one who wrote a book called Ireland, Land of the Pharaohs, which that book explains how Ireland's got 16 layers of black magic on it, whereas other countries may have 2, right? Because this was such a powerful place. And the original population of this land, and also there's evidence to say that the Bible was written in Irish. The original Bible was written in Irish, not in the other languages that people think it's written in.
Aramaic.
What do you say, Aramaic?
Mm-hmm. That's the official story.
Yeah. Well, no, none of it's true, but because they've lied about everything, right? So, and they just hide everything in plain sight, like the Stone Circle in Derbyshire. And but the evidence of this island of Eru Island is actually Atlantis, and the stone circles are the key to understanding that, because the race that built mounds initially, the mounds were the precursor to the pyramids, and a lot of what Graham Hancock's done on his recent Netflix smash hit, Ancient Apocalypse, which the Guardian newspaper said was the most dangerous TV program ever made, right? Because all he's basically proving is that official history is bollocks. That's all he's really saying. It's a lot older than we think it is. But there's a lot of evidence that technology of the mounds and then the pyramids and everything started here, and the stone circles, and that because it's technology. And if you look at the stone circles and that kind of thing in the UK, for example, it's kind of all on the west coast going in a bit. It doesn't come in from the east coast. So it must have come from Ireland. And it's the same if you go the other way into the ocean and down to Spain and Egypt and Portugal and stuff like that. The evidence, the trail is there, so the power of this place historically and spiritually has been extremely, they know how important it is, which is why they've pummeled it for so many hundreds of years. They've absolutely tried to destroy it. It's got the highest fluoridated water in the world, drinking water. And what does fluoride do? Calcifies the pineal gland. They had Catholicism here, raping children for centuries and getting away with it. There's tons of evidence, dead babies, graves, dismembered baby graves everywhere.
Do you mean all of Ireland, or this specific area?
What?
When you talk about the fluoride and whatnot, is that all of Ireland?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. I mean, I've got like 5 water filters in this house, because I knew how bad the water was when I got here, and you have to do something about it.
Yeah.
So what are some other stories that you might be able to share from Ireland that you've learned about either the evil that goes on there, or anything?
Well, there are many other things that I know that I don't talk about publicly, because I've got 5 kids here.
Sure.
And, I already had the fuel line on my car cut in 2020 when I started my YouTube channel. So although I do know that I'm protected, they do come through your children, and I'm talking about demonic attacks, psychic attacks, and physical. God willing, that doesn't happen. But that's we're dealing with some very, and it's not just Ireland; it's worldwide. I mean, we are all living amongst satanic pedophiles. They're everywhere. That's why this operation's taken so long.
Right.
Because they've got to be pushed out.
Right. Well, you know, another note, are you familiar with Mary from We the People News? Do you watch that channel at all?
I don't think I have. Maybe I have seen it, but I don't have a lot of time to watch much.
Yeah, well,
feeling,
that's why I brought it up. So I'd have to look. But she has about 176,000 subscribers. I don't know if you've heard this, but she ended her show about 4 days ago with your poem, with you reading it. Yeah, it was beautiful. It was awesome. I was trying, you know, I'll see which one it actually is because I have the access.
Which poem was that?
Right,
you don't have to know the answer to that question.
Well, I looked at it and I tried to find the exact one, but I'll show it to you. So
where's that channel?
It's We the People News. It's on Rumble, and I think I put it in this chat group that you and Scott and I are part of, and I could tell you exactly. No, I don't need the updates right now.
That's cool. Thank you, Larry.
Let's see here.
Yeah, Rumble's really kind of where it's at. You know, if you want to avoid the censorship, it's just it's difficult to maintain your dignity when you're doing the charades and everything, you know.
Well, I know. I mean, I just put an interview with Ricardo Bossi I did today up on Rumble, not YouTube, because I wanted to just go there. But I do a lot of content where I don't have to talk about, because I do stuff about spiritual stuff and healing. So that's why I've kept my YouTube channel.
Right.
Plus, you know, YouTube is still the big audience. You know?
We do both, but if we know it's too hot for YouTube, we put it over on Rumble for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've backed all my content on Rumble and BitChute and on my own website, which has been hacked and has just been rebuilt right now.
Oh, that's fun.
Just
okay. So I found it. It's the situation update from February 1st. And the channel is We the People News on Rumble. And it's just about to come up here. It's about let's see, 59-minute mark. And then when I have it come up, I'll show you the screen so you could tell the people exactly which poem it is, because for some reason I couldn't tell at the time. So as it plays,
you know, this makes me happy because the poems are really designed to help people. I can't see anything at the 58-minute mark.
Let's see. Pulling up. So 58 might be 59. I'm on that. I'm not on the app, so it's going to take a second. And it's really my fingers are too big sometimes for this.
The poems and the fuck it therapy. That's been very helpful.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Fucking therapy is very, very powerful. That wasn't mine. That was a guy called John C. Parkin taught me that about 10 years ago. And he runs a whole business around fuck it therapy.
Well, extend my thanks, because it's been useful.
Yeah, he runs fuck it retreats in Italy. I think he wrote a book called Fuck It Therapy as well.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Okay, here we go.
Lovely guy. It's just about letting go.
Yes.
It's like how do you let go quick in 2 minutes? That's a great way of doing it.
It's kind of like when you're swimming in the ocean and you get pulled by the undertow and you start to freak out and you're spending all your energy trying to swim out of it. Well, you're sure to drown that way. But if you just sort of let go and go with it, it'll put you right back on the shore.
I learned that the hard way in California. That's the first time I went surfing because I got pulled under and I fought against it. And I thought, I'm going to drown. So I just let go. And it was great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually quite easy.
Yeah.
But
Mark,
a lot of things.
I found it. It's at the 103:30 mark.
Okay.
So maybe you could tell. Can you pull that up?
Yeah. Said the actress to the bishop. 103. 103 what?
30.
30.
And then maybe you could share 103:30.
Oh, it's not a poem.
So yeah, what
no, this is the video I just told you about.
Okay.
Oh,
but you're speaking so many with such.
Can you hear? Can you hear the sound on this video?
No.
Well, hit play. Let's hear it.
Depicted in Corridon Hammond's client study, 18 ISS TD therapists. A man with short, balding brown hair.
Maybe bring it up a hair if possible.
And limp in his
I can't quite get to 30, so I'm just gonna have to play
I know that's the issue.
Yeah, it's really hard to scrub on Rumble.
There we go.
Vaccinated. My name is Mark, and I'm just an ordinary bloke. But when COVID hit, I knew it was fake. I knew it was coming. How? Well, you know, I've done about 500 hours of videos in the last 2.5 years, kind of explain how, but I have a message for you guys, because you guys probably think I'm just some sort of tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist. And I am. But most of those conspiracy theories are coming true in front of your eyes right now. And it's time for you to wake up. You were duped. And I know it's really hard to hear that you've been duped. You were duped big time. They wanted you dead. Some of you, unfortunately, probably will die of this vaccine. But we did try to tell you, we did try to warn you. Some of you, quite a lot of you, I hope, have had a saline solution instead of this thing that nobody bothered to read the instructions of. It was the same as the masks. Nobody read the instructions and said they're completely ineffective against viruses. And the other thing is you can't catch a virus. You can't catch a virus. A virus is created inside your body in response to over-toxification. So they lied to us about everything, extreme, physics, chemistry, biology, everything. But we're here for you. We know you were duped, and we love you. And I'm praying for a miracle, and I hope none of you die, but I do hope we learn the lessons from this time, because this time is biblical. This is the Great Awakening, and you're about to get a very, very big shock. But there's a bunch of us on this planet that are waiting to help you. God bless.
Well,
I love it. I love it. That's such an important message. You know, we've had that discussion with it. It's people are very reluctant when they've been browbeaten by so many, you know, vax advocates, that it is kind of hard to turn that other cheek. But you know, we have to embrace our fellow man. And
there are brothers and sisters,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you know, they got conned. So you know, some of us didn't. You know, the pressure was massive.
Mm-hmm.
I know people who, you know, I know a single mother friend of mine. She got it because she was going to lose a job.
Oh yeah,
she couldn't. You know, she couldn't afford to lose a job. She's got 4 kids.
Exactly.
And you know, and it's, you know, what was happening in the last, maybe in 21, 22, is that this thing started rising up amongst people that didn't get the vaccine. And they're online saying, we are the pure bloods, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, hang on a minute, that's divide and conquer constantly. We've got to move past that. In 4D and 5D, it's a time of compassion and love. It's not, you know, we have to put our arms out for them. That's what I think, you know, because what do we want to do? Also, all this idea of building, I fully understand why people want to build the system that they want to see exist, but does that exclude all of them? I mean, it's a very strange kind of separatist thing that's going on that we've got to just nip in the bud, I think.
Right. I mean, we all have friends, family, loved ones, and so on that have been affected. You know, they made that decision for whatever reason. Joe and I recently found some nutritional products that are helpful in ridding your body of that stuff, and you know, with any luck, that will prevent any of these negative consequences from really setting in. And we'll put the links in the show notes for you. But we got to share that stuff. We need to get everybody healthy.
Yeah, I've been doing that. I've been doing that since the beginning. I mean, I wear this every day. It's amazing. It cleans your blood. Because it's all about the blood. It's always been about the blood, right? And the blood is full of parasites. And if you clean those parasites out, then you got the laser going on there.
Huh.
Now what is that?
Never seen that.
I don't think we've seen that.
It's a cold laser that has a bunch of different frequencies, and that basically zaps the blood. You wear it for like an hour a day, and
It's very
Can you
C3PO.
shoot lasers
Yeah, it
out of
looks
it?
like C3PO.
Looks like a weapon.
Yeah. It's also a teleportation device. Beat me up, Scotty. Oh, I've got loads of these. I mean, we've all had to do this. We've all had to become more sovereign in terms of the way we think. You know, America thought it was sovereign and the land of the free, but really, nobody's walking on the road. Everybody's driving to the fast food. Well, not everybody, you know what I mean. Fast food joints and just getting fatter and fatter. We all were. We were. They've done it to everybody. You know what they've done to the food is unbelievable. Right? That's why I only eat meat at the moment, and it's not because I'm against all vegetables and fruit. That's just that I don't trust any of them. You know.
Well, that's interesting. A lot of people here in the States are avoiding meat because they're vaccinating the livestock.
Or that's the
So they say.
So they say.
So you can get if you look for it, you can find. I've found meat that I know is 100% completely cool.
Oh yeah. Local farmers and whatnot. That's your best bet for sure.
But you know, look, but people watching this go, "Oh, I can't afford that." Oh, it's all right for you because of blah. Look, I know. I'm just doing my best, you know, and I think we're all doing is just like finding solutions, finding things, sharing ideas, and we have all become far more adept at understanding medicine over the last 3 years. We're much more adept in terms of at least being more conscious of what we're eating. You know, I'm talking about those of us that are awake, and all of these things. You know, some of us have taken steps to become more sovereign in terms of our income and, you know, and our spirituality, definitely. And these things are all going to be the things that when everybody wakes up who've had the jab, they're going to want to know about, because we've spent all this time looking into them. I'm not saying we're all experts, but between us, we've done quite a good job.
Well, the
common
seed,
law, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the seed that's been planted. I mean, it kind of a negative experience, but one positive take is that I think people are far more distrustful of anything systemic, really, but particularly our medical system, certainly our political system. You know, and I mean, when you look at it and you study it long enough, very little of it is fit for purpose. You know, it's or at least not for a benevolent purpose of any kind. So now we kind of get to reimagine things a bit, and you know, it'll be interesting to see what replaces it all.
Well, I'm sorry, go on.
Oh, I was going to say, quick question. So the video, what's cool about Mary is her name that does We the People News.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah. Well, you know, you look at the views, there's 82,000 people that have watched the video, or, you know, at least watch it for a certain amount of time. So because I was looking for that exact, you know, I guess more of a speech than a poem, pardon me, but where is it that people can find that if they don't necessarily want to? I mean, I suggest watching Mary at We the People News, of course, but, you know, it's a few days old. So where could they see exactly what you were saying on your own site, or where would they go to see that?
Yeah, it's on Twitter. It's on my Twitter account, twitter.com/Mark Attwood. It's on my Telegram channel, The Mark Attwood Show. It's on my Rumble account, The Mark Attwood Show. It's on my website, themarkattwoodshow.com. It's not on YouTube.
Oh, that's where I was looking. That's
I'm
funny.
not going to put that on YouTube. But YouTube's, you know, yeah. Right. If it's even vaguely, I just don't put it on.
Well, I've been banned on Twitter now for the 9th time, so we might have to start a new account with his name from his phone number or whatever, because it's been a lost cause, and that's even after Elon or whoever's portraying Elon has taken over Twitter.
Well, I've been pushing it really hard. I've been putting on all my most controversial stuff to see if they'll ban me, but they haven't.
Well, it's interesting that there's 80-some thousand views you didn't even know were out there.
Well, because
your message is being heard. That's a wonderful thing.
Well, if she loaded it on her actual page, it won't give his the counts. But anyway, that's why I'm trying to let people know to support, you know, your counts as well. So,
well, you know, we're all supporting each other, and so, you know, I'm not that bothered. It's just it's frequency matching. I honestly believe that when you put information out there, the right people that need to hear it find it.
Right.
And it's just frequency matching, because the whole world's just frequency, and that's fine. You know, it's not about having 1 million views. It's about those 5,000 people that saw your message were the ones that needed to hear that, and that had a positive effect on the frequency of the planet. That's what all of this is about.
Very good point.
Yeah. You know,
well, from that spiritual perspective, you've got a lot of insight in that area. Where would you say we're at? I mean, obviously there's been some shifts, I think, energetically and so on, and shifts in perception. What's your take?
So I've done a number of healing workshops recently with a guy called Ian Welch, who's the most powerful healer I've ever come across. I mean, the guy can make me do this over the screen, and I've actually spent a week with him in Morocco, and I've met him in Manchester before, but we get on very well. And he gets downloads, and he's been helping a lot of my audience get into 5D and into the golden age timeline with affirmations initially, but then we've got to the point where if you, in fact, I'll just show you, I'll pull this up. We did a workshop last week that was just amazing because what are the names of those Sumerian stones?
The tablets?
Yeah.
That Sitchin did his work with? Yeah.
So if you look at this, I'll just share the screen with you. It's things like this that just fascinate me, and I think it's all connected. You see here, these are the Sumerian tablets, right? It's a lot of them. And you can see this guy has a pine cone in his hand.
Right.
And he's pointing it like this. And if you look over here, this guy has a handbag. What's in the handbag? Why the pine cone? What is this all about? Well, Ian downloaded that the pine cone is actually a technology that can be used for healing and manifesting and all sorts. So we've been doing these workshops where we're downloading vortices from the central sun, which he calls the love star, and then teaching people how to load that in through your heart. Or he's also found pineal glands, extra pineal glands. There's one in your head, there's one in your heart, there's one in your base chakra, there's a fourth one as well.
No
Wow,
kidding.
I didn't know that.
That I've never heard.
Well, no, because nobody's ever heard of it. He's just downloaded the information and then run these workshops. And we've had maybe 800 healers on these workshops because a lot of my audience are, well, most of them are light workers. And even if they don't know they are, you guys are, we're all light workers. And, just teaching them what he's found. And these workshops just sold out like in 2 hours. It was nuts. Because again, it's frequency matching. But we're also doing 5D business models. If these workshops you can get in for free, if you pay what you want,
That's wonderful.
That's the way. That means nobody misses out because we've got multimillionaires watching us and we've got people on the breadline watching us, but we don't want anybody to miss out on this stuff.
So are those online, virtual, or are those in person, or both?
Oh no, we did them as online webinars.
Okay,
That sounds fantastic.
So that this is the kind of healing work that I keep one eye on the clown show and the intel because it's entertaining, and but I'm not bogged down in that. I'm more interested in finding new people that are bringing things to the table. Like is Island Atlantis? What's in that stone circle? What new healing modalities and information? And people seem to love it. They get the feedback on these things is amazing, and I think that's like. The whole chasing intel thing is going to be over soon.
Yeah.
The whole truth seeking thing is going to be over soon because it's all going to get told to everybody. I mean, then we'll all know everything. And then we'll be like, okay, we're not seeking any truth because we now know everything. So what are we going to do next? And I think it's a time for heal.
A lot of trauma to process.
Building. Yeah.
Your whole life's been a lie. Deal with it. That's kind of a big thing to have globally at the same time. Oh, the pine cone. It's interesting you bring that up. That's, as you probably know, it always been the symbol for the pineal gland.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, the pine cone itself, I think, is the most represented object in architecture worldwide. Because if you go to a church in Spain, it'll be surrounded by railings with pine cones. There's a massive pine cone in the Vatican. It is the pineal gland, and it is how they've subjugated us by making it not work.
Right. Well, I mean, even a pine cone is a magnificent thing. I mean, when you think of the magnificence of a tree towering above you, and it started out like this, that's spectacular. But with the tablets, not too long ago, I felt I was listening to the work of Gigi Young. She's phenomenal if you're not familiar. And she's wonderful.
Gigi Young.
Yeah, and the companion piece to that is The Dark Journalist, if you're into the UFO file. And
I love The Dark Journalist.
Yeah, absolutely one of my favorite content creators of all time.
And he's brilliant.
Both of them really. Yeah, they can be found on YouTube. And Gigi was talking about Sitchin, because much of my theories, that I've been working with for most of my life have stemmed in one way or another from Sitchin's work.
Yep.
And they never really fully connected, and I didn't know why. But it seems to, this very idea of a builder race of aliens that molest the DNA of a species to create what they want, the dumbing down that you speak of. Well, where's the soul in all of that? That's the anima for what we are, what, and it's never really addressed, and it doesn't really come together. And then when you take a deeper look into Sitchin, he was kind of a questionable guy, kind of a dusty fellow. So,
well, no, I've heard that his translations were not
well, they're
correct.
politically motivated, and he there's a bit of puffery associated with his accolades or his qualifications and so on. But she really goes into that soul component, and it really clicks and makes a lot of sense. And I think it's a really meaningful bit of work that she's done there.
I was just looking for a book that talks about this, but I've not put it on the shelf yet. But no, that I'm going to look her up. That's I mean, it's the Sumerian tablets translation is something that is fascinating, and I agree with what you said. Where's the soul in it, and all of that, and yeah,
it's the most important consideration, I think, at least from the perspective of a human being, and it really does fall right out of that story. It's almost as if the story we've been given by Sitchin kind of is built to negate the soul in one way or another. And I mean, that's a misdirection if I've ever heard of it. So, which we're pretty used to by now, right? I mean, it's almost a bigger lie if you tell someone 90% of the truth, but in that 10%, you completely redirect the person, and it happens all the time.
Well, that's happening in politics. It's happening in the truth movement. It's everywhere.
Yeah,
that's exactly how they do it. It happens on the news. You watch a half-hour news show. 80% of it might be true, and then they just put in the bullshit in the middle of it. You don't know whether you're coming or going.
Yeah,
right.
It's brilliant. It's so simple.
Right. Yeah, and the misunderstandings that happen as a result, they just take you down the wrong path. It's you spin out on all this. You just start to spiral, and you can't preserve your energy for more worthy pursuits.
Yeah, and then you end up arguing with other people, and that's it. They've won.
Yeah.
So the secret is to just glide. I'd tell you what, the image I always get in my head for this whole period, and everybody should watch this film if they haven't watched it already. And I'm just going to show you a clip from it.
Sure.
Because it is an extraordinary piece of work. And it's all related to this time. And I think it was released in 2012. I'm not sure. Yeah, 10 years ago. And it's called I Pet Goat 2. Have you ever heard of it?
I have, but I don't know if I've seen it.
Wait, I Pet Goats?
I Pet Goat 2.
I don't think I have.
I'll just show you the segment from it, okay?
Sure.
Because I always imagine that this is like Jesus on a boat, and just
maybe I have seen this.
That reminds me of the Denver airport.
Yeah, I have seen this. This is cool.
I think this is after he's come through the. Yeah, it's this bit that. There's look at that.
Wow.
Towers collapsing.
Yeah.
I think it starts with 9/11, George Bush in the classroom. I've got to go watch it again because I've not watched it in full. But that image is so powerful to me, where he's on the boat and his feet are on fire and there's things falling, crashing, the world's crashing down around him, and he's just in the zone. I think it's just it's helped me out a lot, that image.
Yeah, nice. Definitely.
It's probably worth doing a show on that film, actually, because I need to go back and revisit it because it's very, very symbolic.
Yeah, we've got our homework. Yeah, that out for us.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
I went on a deep dive with the pyramids the other day, and they've always fascinated me. I remember when I was a kid, probably the 7th grade or something like that. I did a science fair experiment where I just took some cardboard and I made sure the dimensions were exactly the same as the dimensions of Cheops, the Great Pyramid at Cheops, rather. And I took an apple and I cut it in half. And out of the same cardboard, I made a box. And I put the box over one half of the apple and the pyramid over the other. And all the conditions were the same, other than the geometry. And the half of the apple under the pyramid outlasted the one in the box by like an order of 10 or more. It was just preserved just by that geometry. Fascinated me. And then last night or the night before, something like that, I was listening to just all of the math associated with the pyramids, their shadows, their alignment with the ley lines, how they connect to other similar artifacts that are probably from a similar or same age along ley lines. And it just displays this tremendous knowledge of the earth, and its position in time and space. And I think they're really onto something when they say it's far older than Egypt, and that Egyptians discovered it. I find that fascinating, especially when we see pyramids in Antarctica and pyramids in, well, all over the world, really. Yeah.
I've got a big one there, a Russian pyramid, which milk does not go off if you put it in there. And it's good for meditating.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
yeah, I mean, the pyramids are, yeah.
Just the idea that there was that much information and knowledge that long ago held, and it kind of makes you see history in a different light. Like, we've really only been around for a short time. The time of Tesla was so recent. I mean, he died in the late 40s.
I think
and
so.
Hillary Clinton was born in 1947. She's still around.
No, she's gone.
Well, you know what I mean.
Hey, it's funny because you sound like you're describing my website. Look at this. Pyramids.
Oh, wow.
Anarchy, Jesus, Hillary.
Perfect.
Hicks.
Yeah, we've covered most of that already. That's great.
Arcturians. There he is, the bastard. Alistair Crowley. The Biden clone. Royal Raymond Rife. The Lord of the Rings. It's all here. The statues of giants on Easter Island. The Anunnaki. I mean, it's all here. This is the inside of my head.
Crowley astounds me because he was so incredibly influential in so many ways. Probably the most significant being the influence on the industrial military complex.
There he is.
Right, through Parsons.
Yeah.
But when I ask people about Crowley, very few people know who he is or what.
No, well, he's one of the most instrumental people in history.
Yeah,
and I think it goes back in line to John Dee, and who John Dee?
I don't know that I do.
So John Dee was Queen Elizabeth I most trusted alchemist advisor. And he was a genius, and allegedly he sank the Spanish Armada off the coast of Ireland 3 times or 4 times. I know history says twice. I think it's 3 times. Using magic, and he used to sign his letters to her 007. That was his signature.
No kidding.
007 is shorthand for Tubal Cain. Tubal Cain, the first son of Cain.
Right.
That line, the evil line. And used by the Masons all the time in their golf tournaments. In the golf tournament.
So the Facebook logo.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be the Tubal Cain golf tournament, Sarasota, Florida, whatever. It's always been there. And I think Crowley was involved with MI6, as Ian Fleming was afterwards, which is why James Bond was chosen to represent. And the James Bond films are all rituals. They're all part of this, this kind of thing. And I think it's all connected, and apparently John Dee did a deal with beings from the other dimensions, probably the 4th density, and in exchange for knowledge that he would agree to feed them with whatever it was they wanted to be fed with, which was children. And he couldn't cope with the information that was coming in. It was too much for him. So he set up universities, and he got scholars to come in to take in this information, and a lot of that information went into the secret books in vaults underground. And then you look at somebody like Lord of the Rings, Tolkien, in 1959, I think it was, in a radio interview in Amsterdam, he said that the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit was based on the true history of the earth, which he'd read from these books in the vaults. So, you know, it's like this. I don't, you know, I'm just an amateur, you know, but there's just so much, and I can't wait to find it all out. And it's fun trying to find it all out, and it is all linked to all these incredible. See, my website says hidden in plain sight because the pyramids are right in your face.
Right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think there's pyramids all around us. The one in Bosnia was only discovered. There's a massive one in Bosnia that was only discovered about 20 years or 30 years ago, because everybody thought it was a mountain because it was covered in grass. And somebody said, "No, that looks like a pyramid." I think it is. And there's a big one here in Ireland. Called Crow Patrick. I'm sure it's a pyramid because when you're driving down to it, it's too perfectly like this. But you know, they spent a huge amount of time deconstructing all the Tartarian stuff, and you know, destroying it, changing it, hiding it. I mean, look at San Francisco. How quickly was San Francisco built? And look at the buildings there.
Right.
That was all supposed to be done in 20 years during the gold rush. I don't think so.
Hey,
with
Mark,
horse and carts.
What's that?
With people with horses and carts.
You're right.
Exactly.
And pickaxes. How did they build those buildings?
Right.
Well, why did they put windows in the basement?
Exactly. And it's everywhere. It's all over Ireland as well. Belfast is stunning Tartarian architecture, and it's unbelievably gorgeous. The town hall in Belfast, right? And people just walk past it, go, yeah. They don't even think about it.
Well, quick question back to John D. Is that all you look up? Is it John John and then the letter D, or is there more to his name?
D-double-E. I mean, he's a well-known figure historically that you can find on Google, but obviously Google gives you have to dig deeper to find some of the stuff that I
just clarifying for anyone in the audience that may want to look up John.
Well,
D.
and myself, but
Right.
I mean, they describe him on Google as an English mathematician, but he was a polyglot. He was there you go, astronomer, astrologer.
Okay, thank you,
alchemist, the court astronomer for and advisor to Elizabeth I. Spent much of his time on alchemy, divination, hermetic philosophy. Well, that's interesting. Because that is interesting. There is another link between Aleister Crowley and John Dee, and that is, see, look, was John Dee the first 007?
Wow.
See, Aleister Crowley, where I am here, there's a famous poet from this part of Ireland called W.B. Yeats, who was around at the turn of the 20th century, and him and Aleister Crowley used to do rituals on an island in the lake near here as members of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which relates back to John Dee again, which is all about magic.
Gosh, I think the Dark Journalist just did an episode on the Golden Dawn, and I haven't seen it yet, but I'm really excited about it. You know, they're 3 hours long, and you got to find the time.
Yeah,
but
I haven't really had time recently.
You mentioned those materials being sort of underground, and I'm wondering, was that sounds like a mystery school? Was he associated with a mystery school?
I missed a bit of what you said.
Well, was he associated with a mystery school? You know, like Gurdjieff and Steiner and Blavatsky and all of those characters, where they had this sacred information and they had to secret it away, but also make it available to the right folks. I think. I mean, that's a really rudimentary way of explaining it, but.
Well, I think almost certainly, yeah, but I don't know for a fact.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Just wondered if that was a known quantity there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people involved in this stuff, isn't there? I'll tell you what I'm finding interesting is that there's a UK politician that came out a couple of weeks ago and said there's something wrong with these vaccines. These vaccine deaths, 4,000 excess deaths a week. There's a problem. We need to look into it. And then he quoted an Israeli doctor who said that the vaccine program was the biggest crime against humanity since the Holocaust, which obviously then immediately I think he tweeted it, and then he got banned from the Conservative Party because for anti-Semitism.
God. Yeah, how that could be interpreted as anti-Semitism. He did use the word. I guess maybe we're down to just words and a list.
Just use a word on a list, and that's it. Even though in the meaning of it, we're just in a post-fact society, aren't we? As David Icke calls it. But Yeah, he got banned, and he's really going for it. He just went on with Kerry. Did he go on with Kerry Cassidy? I think he did. Yeah, I think he went on with Kerry Cassidy, and he's being very vocal about it, and it's really interesting. And I was talking to somebody who's connected quite high up in the UK, but she's a real freedom fighter. But she didn't want me to say who she was, but she's been about this particular thing. But she's been talking to some quite high profile politicians in the UK. And she said to me on the phone the other day that she honestly thinks they didn't know a thing about it. And I'm like, that can't be true.
Whoa.
Can it be true? Could it be true? Because for me, it's all been, these politicians, a lot of them are all part of the Masons, the other common purpose groups, and these types of secret societies where they know exactly what they're doing, when they're trying to commit genocide. But then you look at like the UK Health Secretary during the pandemic, Matt Hancock, he's not doing health secretary stuff anymore, but he's just been on a big TV show called I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and paraded himself in front of the whole country eating bugs in a jungle in Australia when he's just murdered millions of people. I mean, it's nuts.
Right.
Do they really not know what they've done, or are they just so demonic that they're just carrying on like it's all a big laugh to them?
Or are they even real? I mean, I know that sounds like a crazy question. Yeah, Megan Rose did her thing with Valnick, which he connects with it, Galactic. He's been speaking to her forever, but I really enjoy her work. And
who's that?
Megan Rose.
Oh yeah, so I thought you were either talking about her or Elena Denan. So I didn't know.
Yeah, well, this is specifically Megan Rose in a conversation she had. She was surprised when she asked about soulless people and what how many are there, and it was given to her as a percentage, 75%.
75%.
Okay, so you're aware, yeah. And this has kind of come up in a lot of our interviews and a lot of our talks recently. This very notion, it does answer a lot of questions, is it not? If that were true,
yeah.
And my intuition kicked that out to me a long time ago, and I thought, well, I told Joe about it, and because I was
still wrapping my head,
and I was telling him specific people, and I thought, crazy thought, I know, I mean, there's no way to verify those things, but here it is coming up again over and over, and we've been kicking around the NPC memes and whatnot for a long time, but it really puts things into perspective.
Well, even my kids in the last 6 months I'll be driving along and they'll be going, "Oh, she's an NPC, he's an NPC," and I'm like, "Where are you getting it? Where are you getting this from?" And I was like, "If you're getting this off TikTok, where are you getting this from?" And I think it's just come up in the consciousness. This is because it's just one field of consciousness, right? And I can't remember her bloody name. I've been talking about her. Dolores Cannon, right? So she talks about background characters, right? And waves of souls coming in with the scouts and then the healers and the warriors and the bridges, and I'm a bridge, and which is all part of finding out who you are, learning all this stuff. And yeah, this subject has come up a lot in the last few weeks for me too, and because it's becoming because I've been saying COVID's great in terms of the fact that we now know who everybody is, because if everybody put one of these on, ain't so bright.
Like holding up a sign, yeah.
So, but that number would be about right, wouldn't it? If you think about it, I mean, what percentage of the world didn't get jabbed?
They're still doing it here. They're still in their Priuses, driving by themselves with the mask on. You see it. You see all the time. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. You see it all the time.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
You go to the store, they're still wearing them. There's no mandates. There's no one telling them to do it. There's no reason for. It's like a whoopee, like a blanket a child would hold to make them feel better, but it doesn't. It just doesn't.
There's a local website here, and I went on it the other day, and I had to force myself to not share this link with my audience because it said, with COVID cases on the rise again, do you think masks shall be brought back? And 68% of the people said yes.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And I wanted to share it on Telegram to just say, off you go. And it would have been like 99% no, but they didn't know it was me.
It's like a whole nother form of confirmation bias. It's like reverse confirmation bias where, bring back what supported my earlier beliefs because they're no longer being supported and I feel insecure. how do you, I mean, how do you go through that thought process consciously?
Well, you're not. You might have just answered your question.
Well, they are. I mean, they're conscious. They're answering questions. That's some indication of conscious behavior, I guess.
Right. We could spend some time. Well, I want to. So.
Oh, actually, no. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but I just realized one thing. One thing I'm doing is I'm using these to.
What is it? Oh, diviners.
Diviners, yeah. So
yeah,
I'm using these to get answers to questions because the body can't lie. So is the percentage of non-player characters on Earth 75%? Yes, it is.
Oh, what?
That's a yes.
There it is. The rods don't lie.
Is it 80%? No. So 75%, yeah.
Wow. Have you been digging well have you found where to dig your well in the yard?
Yeah. I use these you can use these to find anything.
Yeah. They're cool.
I've been doing it in the park. You can find water, you can find electricity cables, magnetic lines. It's really good for finding out why they build churches the way they do, because of the way they have, and also how, you know, these things I found at the Stone Circle, that these things have energy, right? And it's important. We just don't know enough about it. But you can tune into everything with the rods. And you know, some people use pendulums.
Yeah,
I like pendulum. I just like you know, actually your whole body is a dowsing.
You can muscle test too.
Do this. Yeah. I use that a lot. That's a good one.
Me too. But the
rod, if you ever get stuck for a decision, these are brilliant tools, you know, and simple and cheap.
I've used fork sticks, but I've never. It looks like you went to the diviningshop.com or something. Those look great. I could use a pair.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah,
they're really good. And they. I know a guy who gets paid a lot of money by companies to go and, you know, find out where the water is on the building site, so that they build the thing in the right place. You know,
right?
They've been doing it for hundreds of years too. It's a dependable technology. It's just not widely known, I don't think.
No, because they don't want us. They want us away from all of this natural stuff. You know? Who knew that the humble pine cone could heal anything? You know,
exactly.
It's right in front of you.
Well, they're not going to hurt us.
I was watching this video. Sorry, I was just watching this video the other day talking about cayenne pepper. If you're worried about having a heart attack, just take cayenne pepper. And I've known this for a long time, but I realized I still had the aspirin in my head. But the aspirin's really bad for you. But aspirins, although they're cheap, it's not as cheap as cayenne pepper, and they still make money out of aspirins. But when you thin your blood with aspirins, you're also causing brain damage. But the cayenne pepper has 0 side effects. You know, and there's people dropping dead of heart attacks. So this is the kind of information that should be out. Have cayenne pepper in your handbag if you're a woman, or in your bag of whatever, if you're out and about, if you were worried about that, because this is actually happening. My friend rang me the other day and talked about this 18-year-old boy who got vaccinated, and he's super fit, you know, mountain climbing, jet skier, skier, and he just had a massive heart attack like last month, and then 3 more in the hospital, and he's 18.
Jeez.
It's just fucking unbelievable.
Well, I'm about 40% cayenne pepper at this point in my life, so maybe I have nothing to worry about. You can ask Joe. I advocate for cayenne pepper all the time. Anytime anyone's sick, I'm dragging out the cayenne pepper and the tea and the lemon and the whiskey.
That's the important ingredient.
That's the Irish ingredient.
Anyway. That's the fun one. Yeah.
It's optional, but it'll make you feel better.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're right. You know, you rarely see people who drink whiskey rarely get ill. My granddad loved whiskey, and he was never ill.
I mean, maybe not like, you know, pint or fifths of it a day, but
well, they get ill, but it's usually over quickly.
Right. Yeah. If you guys come to Ireland, you'll know about drinking.
Oh, we've been to Ireland and we're seasoned.
Somebody keeps knocking at my door. Tom? Feels like it's coming. It's weird. Somebody's knocking on the glass.
Speaking of Ireland, do you have some events that you're coming up? I heard that maybe Tarot by Janine might be heading over to your neck of the woods. Maybe tell them about that.
So we're doing an event in Manchester, which is called, my show's called Adventures in a Cosmic Suit. So I did a show there 4 or 5 months ago, which was like an 8-hour event, but this one's going to be slightly shorter. and it's going to be filmed and presented like it's a chat show. And we've got Tara by Janine, Tom Numbers, a woman called Anya Lilly, famous footballer from here who's awake, called Matt Tissio, and David Icke's son is going to be there playing music and stuff for us. So that's going to be quite a good. That's going to be a great event. That's on April the 15th. We've nearly sold the tickets for that, and then we're doing a gala dinner in Ireland, which is just going to be like a celebration, nice food, dancing, drinks, and a few talks and music, and it's just going to be. I mean, these things are really about connecting people with the people they've been watching online for a long time, but also having a party, you know,
right,
having a bit of fun rather than just a load of talks, because, you know, we're doing the talks anyway. So I thought we'd throw a party, and Ireland's got some amazing big old castles, hotels and ballrooms, and it's just great.
Yeah.
Bit of Irish hospitality.
Sounds good. Sounds like there might be whiskey.
Yeah, you should come over.
Yeah, we should. I vowed
Come
never to
over.
go back to Ireland, but you're changing my mind pretty quickly. What if they'll have me back?
Yeah.
So, you know, I gotta ask you. I know this conversation has been delightfully devoid of any of the clown show material, but seeing as how you're on the other side of the pond, what is your take on what's going on with? I mean, NATO is really trying to pick a fight, and that really is going to have a potential big impact on you guys. Well, and of course the United States. But what are people saying? Is that much of a topic right now, or?
People are what I've been hearing is people the nuclear war thing keeps popping up,
Right.
and you know, I think there's a high possibility that we're going to have a Bay of Pigs situation.
We're there. I mean, we're
yeah.
way past where we were with Bay of Pigs. We've been at DEFCON 5, I think, for months now. I don't know what the DEFCON level is now, but there aren't any good DEFCON levels. So
yeah, but I don't think the public knows this.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
I mean, I don't personally think that the nukes will work anymore.
No,
but
I don't think
from esoteric standpoint, yeah.
No, yeah, I'm not worried about it at all. I think it,
right.
But you know, Q did say scare event necessary.
Yes,
right.
I did get a vision a couple of years ago about a nuclear scare event.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that's right, because I think everything's been changeable on different timelines anyway. But you know, what is the thing that's going to wake everybody up? We need to get the whole world's attention. Is it going to be a balloon? No, I don't think so. But maybe that's a precursor. Maybe that's part of it. You know, part of the build-up, because
right.
The scene is very much being set for a World War III, and every politician's saying it.
Well, we've been in World War III, but
yeah,
people are just catching up.
You know,
yeah,
I'm talking about the guy who watches the TV.
Right.
Oh my God, we're in World War III. You know, I'm talking about those guys, where they actually, because I mean, the Book of Revelation, I think it's in Revelation, says that the human race has to be taken to its knees and screaming out for God. You know, something along those lines. And what else could do that?
Right.
Very good point.
I could think of a few sarcastic answers, but I'm going to keep them to myself.
Well,
but,
you know, why do people like us get directed in terms of what certain people want us to say? Because the narrative has to go in the direction. You were in that meeting with me in Anaheim. They wanted the don't talk about the UFOs, talk about this.
Yeah,
this is a serious situation. There are US troops on the ground. This is dangerous. President, you know, how much of that is real? Because this narrative has to play out.
right.
They want it to be as real as possible. Maybe that's what they're doing, and that's why they're doing it that way.
There's a part of me that gets pretty excited when I hear about these scare events, just because it makes me feel like we're closer to, you know, much better times once we get over that hump.
Oh well, yeah, I'm desperate for it. I mean, I'm not looking forward to the fear. I think even we're all gonna have to go through that, you know, and it's got to appear. It's got to be real.
Well, those crazy weather balloons, balloons, whatever, the Chinese dreaded death balloons that were hovering over the United States. Alex Jones had an interesting take that was a test for sending EMPs over the right. Yeah. And I hope he's not right, but it's a pretty astute observation, I think. That would definitely get people's attention, but we couldn't communicate about it, not like we're used to, because it would absolutely knock us back hundreds of years. Our grid is so vulnerable in that regard.
Well, is it? I mean, that
could they fake it? Yeah,
that balloon was allowed to do what it was allowed to do.
Sure,
sure. Look, what did Trump set up 5 years ago that Joe Biden's never mentioned once in his presidency? Space Force.
Oh, right.
Joe Biden's never even mentioned it.
Not once. Yeah.
Right. Do you think that Trump's Space Force couldn't have dealt with a fucking balloon?
Exactly.
So we're seeing what we this is just part of the show.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Definitely.
So I don't think the EMP thing makes any sense to me for that reason.
Good to know.
That's just my opinion. But
no, I think it's
none of us actually know. We're just, the reason why we have these chats is because we're just actually waiting for shit to happen.
Exactly.
And hopefully inspiring others to tap into what we're talking about.
Yeah. And it's sort of interesting because fear seems to be a necessary ingredient in this recipe, but at the same time, fear is the one thing we need to rid ourselves of, to maintain a appropriate perspective for what we're about to encounter.
Well, I think the key to this is realizing that you're an eternal spirit, and all of the shamanic healing journeys with plants and stuff they're all about losing the fear of death. This whole pandemic only works because of people's fear of death. That's the only reason it works. So we have to collectively as a species just go, well, look, we're eternal. And once you truly know that and you have a connection with God, why would anything bother you? And I think that's what this ascension process is all about, because fear is a 3D low vibrational frequency. This whole system is designed to keep us vibrating at a low level so they can feed off the loosh. And we're a battery farm for them. But where we're going in 4D, 5D, 6D and beyond, there's no room for fear.
Right. Yeah, well, you can't get there. It's like having two suitcases and trying to walk through the door. You got to put the suitcases down, and then you can easily walk through. And they're full of fear.
There was another knock at my door then. Very strange.
Really?
Yeah. It seemed to come from above.
Well, we're at about an hour. Do you need to go and shoot somebody, or?
Yeah. You got a gun?
Oh, that's right. You don't have guns over there, do you?
No, well,
you've got guns all over the place. There's 6 or 7 of them with it.
Yeah, I know.
America.
That's why. Yeah, America. That's why I should move to America. I used to be pretty good with a gun in the Air Force and the cadets.
I believe it.
Fantastic. Yeah, when are you coming to America again? We got to hang out. We'll make it dinner.
I'd love to. I'd love to see you guys again. I've been invited over for Florida and Hawaii with Truth Tour.
Truth Tour,
perfect.
I just haven't bought the tickets yet, and I've just got to sort things out with my kids because I spent too long away from them last year. So I'm actually cancelling some trips at the moment because I don't want to leave. They just need my dad energy around, most of them. But anyway, I was just thinking that's one of the reasons why Bill Hicks is on my website, because he used to end his show with a very simple point that it's just a choice between fear and love. Always has been.
Yeah, so true.
Well, on that note, beautifully said. Well, one more time, just so people can find you, and then we'll let you get back to your fine evening over in the UK.
What is it?
I just said just let people know where they can find you, and then we'll let you get back to your evening.
Well, you want me to give my home address away?
No. Well, somebody outside has it already.
Yeah, someone's out there.
Well, preferably online to start with, and then if people reach out to us and they want your home address, we'll let you know.
Yeah, thanks. YouTube, The Mark Attwood Show. Rumble, BitChute, The Mark Attwood Show. TheMarkAttwoodShow.com is a website. It's currently being fiddled with, but it should be ready within about a week. And Telegram and Twitter.
There we go.
Perfect.
All right. I've been on Facebook for a year. It's marvelous.
Well, always a pleasure. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing
you. Have you got any new songs coming out?
New songs?
Yeah. Have we got some new music? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I have some stuff in the works, but I'm glad you brought it up. I've got to work with my producer on, I want to make the songs from now on at a certain the right frequency, because they change the frequency, so that once the shows getting a little, there's so much we're focused on with this, but I do appreciate you asking for sure. So I'll definitely keep you posted.
Good. Well, it's great to see you both. I will,
all right,
absolutely.
Go and deal with this intruder. And if this
All
is
right.
my last ever interview, I just want it to be, no, I do not want to kill myself. Okay.
Do you have a shillelagh?
Yeah, I've got a baseball bat here somewhere.
Because I've used a shillelagh before to get people out of the bar. It worked. No, I'm not kidding. It was great.
Yeah, I believe you. I believe you.
On that note, take care, Mark. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes. Bye.
Another question is, in a nutshell, if you were to give an elevator pitch, if you will, how does, I guess it's the combination of the Trinity pack, how does that rid the body of the jab? What's the best way to explain that to the layperson, if you will?
Control Alt Delete. We're a computer, right? So if your computer has a bug, what do? You shut it down, you let it reset, and then it'll reboot. It goes on. And you can't reset your computer, right? Control Alt Delete. Oh, that too is a Trinity. Makes you think, right? But so delete is what clean slate is doing for grabbing onto and removing. Control is what restore is doing, take care of the gut. And then the alt button is basically what 0N's doing to, change neurotransmission. But if you want to reset your computer, you can't just hold down the control button and think it's going to work. You have to hit all three of them. So, and when you do that, then, then you get the body to reset.